adoption. Adam Pertman is the author, well-known author of a book called Adoption Nation that was published 11 years ago and just revised this year. He had actually started with adoption because he adopted kids, and then he was a nominated Pulitzer Prize winner for the work he did on a long series about adoption and how it's changed the face of America and families back before that book, but it was in the Boston Globe. He now is the executive director of the Evan B. Donaldson Institute, which is focused on adoption research, education, and also working with lawmakers around the laws that we have to help all of our families with adoption. And he's here because even though he's got all these great credentials, he's here because he loves Vicki and he loves his agency. So, Adam Pertman.
Thank you. First, I want to thank all of you for coming out to honor someone who deserves a lot of honoring. I just want to thank Vicki for everything she's done in the field and for all of us, and I think probably has personally done something for most of the people in this room, and many, many thousands more, so I'll start just by saying thank you. Here's something you didn't know before. When my wife and I embarked on the adoption journey, is that the right way to say it? Starting about 18 years ago, my son turns 17 next week. I asked around, you know, what are the good agencies? I live in Newton. The institute that I head, by the way, is based in New York, but I live in Newton. And I asked around, and I worked for the Boston Globe at the time, and people had opinions, and I knew people who adopted. And you know that time after time, and I'm not exaggerating anything, they said, oh, you want Vicki Peterson, I mean Wide Horizons. Because they were sort of synonymous. And that's true. Now, I have to tell you, we didn't wind up with Wide Horizons because the guy sat next to me went to a different agency, and I did great due diligence. I went to the one he went to. But the name was there from the very start. When I took this job about 8 years ago, and I asked around, and I did, you know, who are the people I need to talk to, who are the luminaries, who are the smart folks in the field. There were a few other names on their list, but a big name on the list, absolutely, was Vicki Peterson. And whenever I did anything in the field of adoption, and it is true, inevitably, there was one name that always came up, and it was Vicki Peterson. And we've known each other now for a very long time, and I'm blessed by that. And all those people, by the way, were right. You had to go to Vicki Peterson. She knows adoption from the bottom to the top, quite literally. She placed the kids, she went and got the kids, she counseled the families, she helped them, and then she didn't stop. She rose through the ranks until she was at the top of the field. And again, this is one of the, when people ask me, there's no exaggeration here, I don't do that. When people ask me what are the really good agencies, because people ask me that all the time, Wide Horizons is always, always, always near the top of the list, or at it. Because it's true, and you built that. You built that. Pete is carrying on the legacy, and you all deserve lots of credit for supporting an organization that is important. But she built it, and there's no doubt about that. She knows adoption from the beginning to the end, from the bottom to the top, and she understands big things about it that other people do not. She understands that adoption is not just about the kids who get a home, but it's about the kids who don't. And so she built something really important that other agencies later caught up to, that we have to help the kids who aren't going to get adopted. They're going to stay in orphanages, they're going to stay in less favorable circumstances. She understood that. She understood that adoption isn't just about child placement. She understood you have to work with the families. It's not just about the kids, it's about everybody concerned. She understood that because she learned it from the beginning to the end, and she applied what she learned. And most of all, and this is a big part of the work that I do now, and I'm very grateful to Vicki for being a trailblazer in it, and you were, and are, she understood that adoption is not just about putting a kid into a family. It's about helping that family succeed. Those are two different things. You know the mantra, right? Every child deserves to be in a safe, loving, permanent home, right? Well, there are lots of safe, loving, permanent homes that are having problems. So we have to add successful. And that's what Vicki added to the mix. She said it has to be successful. So post-adoption services, a continuum, are something that she pioneered and that the rest of the world is catching up to today. We owe you a lot. Speaking for myself, we love you, we respect you, and we could not be more grateful to you.